Welcome back to the channel. Thanks everybody for watching that last video, and apologies on my part for taking so long from the previous video. This summer kind of threw us for a loop with the valve train issues with this car, what was perceived to be valve train issues, and we got all that figured out, and had some good people in Facebook groups that sold us some parts and allowed us to continue on for the remainder of the season. We had one more little incident, and I'll get to that later on in this video. But so today, what I wanted to do was see. I ended up buying a set of race car scales off of Marketplace, and we want to find out how much the Poison Dart weighs. It's a 72 Dart. Right now has no hood on it. The battery is located in the trunk. It does have a fiberglass front and rear bumper. The factory brackets have been whittled down to bare minimum. The front brackets, I ended up, when you add up all the parts, the fender support and then the two brackets that make up the front bumper bracket on this car, it's like 7 pounds a side, and I ended up whittling that down to about 1 pound, just under 2 pounds per side. So we saved a little bit of weight there, but yeah, so it doesn't have a hood on it, and the trunk lid is steel, all the body panels are steel, the windows still all glass, roll up and down, the fronts and the backs, the side windows, they still roll up and down, the regulators, everything is still in there. It doesn't have a back seat. Does have two front seats. Aluminum headed small block 727, 8 3/4 rear with ladder bar, coil over rear suspension, has inexpensive jegs cast wheels on it. The fronts are Mickey Thompson ET drag bias plies, so they're pretty light, 15x4s. Or sorry, these are 17s, or yeah, 17 by 4. Sorry about that. And the rears are 15x10. Right now they are shod with a set of 29.5 by 10.5 non-W tires, Mickey Thompsons, or nope, Hoosiers. No tubes, and yeah, so it's not a factory disc brake car, but it does have a factory disc brake setup on it. It was it started to be converted when I first got it in somebody else's project, and then I kind of finished that up. But it's all basic stock components. In the front braking system, still has a cast iron master cylinder. In the rear does have a Right Stuff disc brake kit. And you know, after our last outing, I was needless to say pumped, trying to whittle the weight down on this thing as much as I could for another shot at another personal best to close out the year. So I ended up pulling the mufflers off of it, the stainless Borla XR1s, and I just left a short 14-inch basically section of the exhaust pipe attached to the headers, so it wasn't just open header. It does have an extension on it. That's neither here nor there, but that's what the car is right now. I'll flip this camera around maybe. Right. So also in the video, you guys saw the Holley Pro Dominator tunnel ram. I made the phenolic resin top for everybody at the track that came and looked at the car the last time we had it out. We're all commenting about that wooden intake. Well, that didn't work out too well. Yeah, it is. It's not wood. It is. It's phenolic resin. You can see the layers of the mat in it. It is a little hillbilly, but not. It's definitely not a block of wood whittled into an intake. But yeah, so it does have the tunnel ram and the 850 on it still, and that's how it ran last time out. And a little sneak peek at the back window that tells you something. If you've been following the channel, you'll know we started out this time. Well, October of last year was the first time we got it out, and it went like 744. And I think the best it had done during that time last year was 741 in the 8th mile. And so this year we started out right same ballpark. Springtime, we took it down to Edgewater in Cincinnati, Ohio, or Cleves, Ohio. Ran it, and it was the first time we ran it through the quarter mile, and it went 11:41. And the 8th mile was 7:44 or 7:41. So basically exactly where we left off in 23. And so we had the valve train issue, which you saw in the last video. Thought we had it figured out, and spent some money and got the Smith Brothers push rods. Another Facebook group member was gracious enough to sell me some rocker arms to try to get it going again, and I did. And we got the car going again. Drove it quite a bit on the street. We didn't really have a chance to take it to the track again too much at that point. And then we had the second push rod failure. And I had a good guy on Facebook, one of the Facebook W2, W5, 7, 8, 9, the W series Chrysler engine groups on Facebook. He had a set of 1:6 ratio Harlan Sharp rockers, and he sold them to me for a good price. Actually shipped them to me. He paid the shipping. I hadn't even given him the money for them yet, and he sent them to me. So, you know, there are still good people out there in some of these groups, and then, you know, in every group there's, you know, one a-hole or another that's keyboard warrior or whatever. They're just there to try to keep everybody else down, because either they're not, you know, successful, or you got something they don't have, and is jealousy, whatever it might be. Anyway, everybody knows that every Facebook group you get in, there's a couple of those at least. So, but I was fortunate enough to have this guy sell me the rocker arms, and I put them on the car. Luckily, when I bought the Smith Brothers, I went ahead and ordered an extra exhaust and intake push rod. And so I had those here, put those in after I fished out the pieces of the ones that broke off. And so Yeah, so long story short, you saw that on the window. That is our personal best for the car, period, from 23 through last year or this year. And last time we had it out was, I think, October, at the beginning of October. And we were able to rip that 686 off. Of course, that was before I came home. I ran that 686 and I was chomping at the bit to see what kind of weight I could take out of the front end of the car, to get it to 60 foot better. And previously, this car had all the heater controls, the AM radio was still in it, the gauge cluster was in it, even though none of those gauges were being used. So I took all of that out, took the factory dash harness out. None of that's used anymore, so it's just kind of along for the ride, and stupid to keep it in there. Or just toting around extra weight. So also that's when I whittled down the front bumper brackets and quest to try to get, another 50 pounds out of the car. And by the time you add up everything that I took out, you're right there at another 50 pounds lighter than when the car ran the 686 that's on the back window. So that leads us to today, and you're going to find out with me right now in real time what this car weighs, because I don't know. I literally just untangled this mess of wires for the scale plates, hooked them up, powered it up, turned my camera on, and you can see nothing on there right now. I'll put my foot on this scale, you'll see it. So that's the driver rear plate, but we're going to go ahead and lower the car down the rest of the way, and we'll jounce it a couple times as the instructions say. Right there, there's no weight on the lift anymore. The arms are free. There's your total. Right now it's 2,890 pounds. So let's jounce the front end a little bit, see what that does. This car has the old competition engineering 90-10 shocks on it, so it was held up pretty high in the front. And when I just did that, the rear set up pretty stiff, because that's the best 60-foot time was how it was set up right now. And there's our total weight, still 2,888. So when I get in the car, it's going to be right around 3,100 pounds, give or take. What you'll notice is, though, you see the percentages. The car is fairly nose heavy right now. When you look compared to the rear, of course the battery's on the passenger rear side, but when I get in the car, it would probably equal out a little bit percentage wise there. Now what doesn't jive is that left front corner being 28%. Right now, I don't know. As you all know, most Chrysler engines are offset to the passenger side, so technically there should be more weight on the front right wheel than the front left. So, but that's the discrepancy is what 27 pounds difference on the front side. Whatever that equates to. I'm not sure why it would be that much difference. Front could just be the torsion bar on the driver's side is a half a turn further, with a little bit more tension, so it's carrying just a shade more weight. But so I'm gonna try to get in the car. Let's see how this works. I'm gonna get in the car and we'll see. There you go. 3104. So I'm not sure exactly how to. That's kilograms, that's pounds, which that's what we want. This is what you get when you don't read instructions. So let me look at the instructions for this as far as where it'll show us what the front and rear bias is, so we can see how nose heavy we are and what we got to do to get this thing to 60 foot better, therefore a little quicker ET. So just a second, and then I'll be right back with the new setup. So I couldn't figure out how to get the bias on there, but you can look at it and see that we're like 55.3 on the front and 44.7 on the back, right? 55.4 and 44.7, give or take. So what that tells me is that we really need to put the front end of the car on a diet. By diet, I mean getting rid of those heavy cast iron brakes, the thick factory style rotors, strange engineering makes a nice lightweight set of brakes for B&E bodies, I believe, for 72.3, which use the same spindle, everything's the same. So there's that. Also, what I would like to do is basically the factory K member isn't doing anything other than it gives a place for the steering gearbox to bolt to, and the idler arm and the pitman, or the idler arm for the drag link, and the strut rods to attach to. So what I would like to do is make a new K member out of tubing, round tube, and switch this thing over to rack and pinion steering. So if we can drop 100 pounds off the nose of the car, we're probably, just as it is right now, if the car, everything being equal, we dropped another 100 pounds, the car would technically go, a tenth faster if the car is set up exactly as it is right now. So, and that kind of bears out true when, so when we had it out second to the last time out, that was after the intake swap here and the rocker arms. Also, when the first push rod deal happened, I changed out the camshaft to a little bit less aggressive camshaft profile. Not that there was anything wrong with the other camshaft, just the profile had the power band or the range of power where for 1/8 mile and how the car was set up, it was tough to get it, the RPM of the engine right as you were crossing the 1/8 mile stripe. So basically what I was doing was running the car through the 1/8 mile in crossing in second gear, and then I would let out of it and shift to third and coast the rest of the way. Of course, that really put me crossing the 1/8 mile stripe at like 75 or 7600, which this little motor didn't even start making any steam until like 5500, and it wanted to pull well beyond 8000. So anyway, so I changed the camshaft profile just to move that power a little bit lower in the power band, hoping to get the car to move a little bit quicker in the 60 foot, which it did. The 60 foot improved by 0.3 over the previous 60 foots were like 189, real lazy. And then the camshaft change, the rocker, of course the rocker arms, and then this putting the tunnel ram on, and the rest of the car being the same. It went 159 60 foot when it ran that 686 pass. So there was 0.3 right there from our 744 passes that we were making before to our 686 over that time period. We basically cut our time by 0.6. So that's a substantial amount. So the rest of it basically came from probably the what the car should have ran from the get-go, but because there wasn't as much torque down low, because you can only stall it up so high. I mean, I put it at 4,000 on the brake and let it go, but really it needs more stall converter to really, it probably needs like a 5500 converter in it, and maybe more to really get up there where the motor's making power, so the 60 foot can get down to, if we can get it down to a 139 60 foot without changing anything on the car, you're looking at 660 to the 1/8 mile. And then if we can cut 100 pounds out of the front end, you're looking at 650s to the 1/8, just doing the math. And so there's just a lot left in the car to be able to optimize the whole thing. We knew this wasn't going to be like a short endeavor where we just threw this thing together and we were out, knocking on the door of low 10-second passes or high 9-second passes. That was never a thought that it was going to be able to do that out of the box, so to speak. that we were going to have to creep up on it. And you'll see in my earlier videos, I said exactly that we were going to make passes and then make changes, try to make the car a little bit faster, and just whittle away at the times and see how fast we can get this thing to go. So part of that equation is a good buddy of mine, Mopar Jim down in Arkansas. He gifted me a 513 gear set for this thing, which is in the car now, but we didn't get a chance to run it with that gear set in it. Also, I did drive the car, and the cruising RPM is about 350, 400 higher than it used to be with the 410s and the 28s. With the 513s and the 29.5s, it's about 400 RPM more, give or take. So if that carries out on the strip through the run to where we're crossing the line now at the 8th mile at 8,000, that's going to put us in a lot better spot to where either it's still in second gear crossing and then shift to third and be able to get the motor up there where it's wanting to be, or it'll allow me to get the car into third gear earlier and cross the stripe still in third gear at the 8th mile, and the RPM, the car still be pulling, I guess I should say. So yeah, that's the gist of it. So, you know, the Poison Dart isn't a lightweight by any stretch of the imagination. You know, it's basically a 2,900 pound car. I think most Fox body race cars or pseudo street cars, whatever you want to call them, are probably right around 2,500 pounds. So there's a 300-pound difference there that we're going to have to figure out how to get rid of, and try to get this thing, if we can whittle the weight down to, you know, 2,600 pounds, 2,700 pounds really, I think we're in really good shape, and the car's going to be fast. It's going to be real fast, and that may include some fiberglass panels to get there, losing window regulators and kind of unstreet carring the car a little bit, but yeah, it may end up just being race car, but yeah. So, well, now we all know how much 72 Dodge Dart A body with aluminum headed small block in it weighs with no hood. Basically a gutted interior, but still 2 seats, all steel, all glass. So yeah, so I think in that last video I was talking about well, also we need to get rid of those too. There's a couple pounds there, and that's kind of where I'm at with this car, is just looking for whatever I can find to get to take out of the car that is not necessary, that's just kind of along for the ride, and eliminate that so we can go fast. It'd be nice to be able to run like a 650 index with the car and still have enough juice to run under the index, and you know, be able to back into some people, you know, that are a little slower, or just give you some options when you're on the track, and try to do my part as a driver to make that happen. So yeah, that's where we are right now. It's just, I know that wasn't a quick update, but that's the update. It's not as light as you think. Um, so people that are on the internet that say, "Oh, my 340 Swinger was 2,800 pounds from the factory and blah blah blah, and it would do this and that." Yep, not true. So it is what it is. You can't cheat it. So physics are what they are. This thing's probably got the lightest components that you can put on it besides the suspension and the brakes. The motor's got aluminum rods in it, so there's just no way somebody's stock A body is 2,800 pounds as it rolled out of the factory with their 340 and their 4-speed or whatever. And it's just not true. There's no way. There's no way that can happen. This car has a aluminum fuel cell in the back. Right now, it's only got about a quarter of a tank of fuel. Got about a quarter of a tank of fuel in it. But there's just no way. So, yeah. Well, so I appreciate everybody watching, and hopefully we'll have another video shortly. I'd like to go over the time slips for the year so we can see the progression as the car was being changed and things changed on the car, how we progressed, and then the personal best pass there, that 686. We'll look at that and see how it was and see where we can improve going into 2025. So I appreciate everybody for watching, and all the comments on the previous video. Appreciate everybody's thoughts on the path and what we should do, and things to look at on the car. So I really do appreciate people's input. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you next time.